What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Wrestling Corner. I am Hookland93, always in the place to be, and I'm here to give my review of the latest WWE pay-per-view, Roadblock. Wait for it. Wait for it. End of the line. Yeah, because you can't forget the subtitle to this pay-per-view. They made a very big deal. So we're about 48 hours removed from this pay-per-view. About the time this goes up on YouTube, probably be, 72 hours. But where to really begin with this pay-per-view? I've been watching WWE pay-per-views since, I like to say, 1999 or late 1998. I know for sure probably 1999. But I know fully 2000. So I just said 3 years right there. And, I've seen some good ones. I've seen some great ones. I've seen some bad ones. And this was bad. This was a pretty bad pay-per-view. So, I guess we just go on to the badness. Normally, when it comes to these pay-per-views, I don't watch the kickoff show or the pre-show. For those of you guys that have watched Wrestling Corner in the past, you never really get a review from, about the pre-show. But this case was the exception to the rule, and that was only because the pre-show match was a match that should have been on the card. It was Rusev versus Big Cass. It had build-up, so it should have been on the card. And this match wasn't even really a match, and it just exemplified the reason for why, for the past years, they have done the kickoff show that I really never really gave a damn about tuning into the pre-show, the kickoff show, because it's this match like this that just gives you a reason not to really tune in. Basically, the match was Cass just whipping Rusev's ass, and then they go into the crowd, and Lana, I think she pushed Enzo. Enzo turns around, Rusev hops over the barricade, knocks Enzo down. Cass goes on to check his buddy. Ding, 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 count out. Rusev runs away. That's the finish. So that really set the tone. Most of the time, openers are very important to a pay-per-view because they set the tone. They are a indication of what's to come, most times or not. So let me get into the actual show of Roadblock End of the Line. We start with the tag team championship. The Raw tag team championships. The New Day defending their titles against Cesaro and Sheamus. Probably overall the best match on the show. Where you're probably not going to get complaints from, fans alike. If the pre-show match was a dud and really did not give the fans what they want in terms of a warm-up, to get their hopes up, there really wasn't not a lot if you looked back in the show really get their hopes up about. But this match, did that. This match was exciting from the start. It kicked off with Cesaro drop kicking Kofi, and it picked up from there. It was really never a dull moment, as you can expect with New Day tag team title matches. A lot of near falls, and a lot of near falls that really hooked the fans. And the New Day really healed it up in this match. Xavier really got involved physically, not just just being an annoyance, but he physically got involved at one point in the match, which was a big near fall. But then the ending came when Sheamus went for the tag, and Cesaro pulled back, and he went into the ring, and it wasn't a tag. He took the bullet, took a Trouble in Paradise, and when Kofi went to go pin him, Sheamus came out and just pinned Kofi. Very clever finish. And I'm happy for Cesaro and Sheamus. I'm not gonna lie. Initially, I was none too pleased with the whole idea of putting them together, because I just felt that with the best of 7 series, you had a chance to make a credible #1 contender in Cesaro, but instead you went with the tie route and them being tag team, a makeshift tag team. But it seemed like it worked out for the best, and Cesaro and Sheamus really had to win this, because at this point, if they didn't, they were probably going to be looked as inferior as the club has. So thus, by beating the New Day, they end the New Day's record-setting 486-day reign as the WWE Raw or this tag team champions. Just make sure. No, scratch that. I was off by 3 days. 483 day reign. And at one point, since the New Day was healing up so much, I thought that when they was going to give the belts up to Cesaro and Sheamus, that they were going to clock them with the belts, officially turning heel, but they gave them the belts, and that was that. But I would not be surprised if the New Day will go on to turn officially back to heels, especially if they keep them close to Cesaro and Sheamus like they did on, the following night on Raw. But yeah, that was the match, and really got the crowd into it, and I'm thinking, okay, what a good way to kick off the show, a solid opener. And this should be a good, like I said before, indication of what's to come. And boy, was I ever wrong. So then we would get Sami Zayn versus Braun Strowman, where the rule was that it was a 10-minute time limit. And since I have not done, before the TLC 2016 review, I have not done the Wrestling Corner in a while, but if I had, I would have said, what I'm going to say now is that when this feud initially started, I actually saw, potential in it. I saw that, this could actually, if done right, this could actually be a pretty good feud for Braun Strowman and Sami Zayn. This is the fact that Sami Zayn was really doing nothing, and Braun Strowman didn't really have a real feud if you don't count that, unless you count that one that semi-one he had with Sin Cara. But this was like Braun Strowman's first feud, and it was really playing up the whole David versus Goliath pretty well. So the match is basically Sami Zayn getting his ass whipped, through the whole thing. The crowd wasn't really feeling it. I guess they just felt that this is just being too prolonged. Then Mick Foley comes out. Mick Foley comes out in a leather jacket looking like a rejected detective. And he has a white flag. A white towel. And he's thinking of contemplating on, throwing it away. But throwing it in, throwing the towel for Sami Zayn. It almost became like Rocky 3. That Sami was playing the role of Apollo and Mick was playing the role of Rocky. But yeah, in this case, Apollo, threw the towel away, and that's what Sami Zayn did. And this was about probably near the last 2 minutes. And this is kind of where the crowd actually started really, I guess you can say, started getting invested, was when Sami Zayn started just playing, he just started playing El Matador and just started having Braun Strowman just run into things. He ran into the post, he ran through the barricades, and then he got a crossbody, and then he had a haluva kick, and time expired. So in any sport, in any competitive event, when time elapses and there's no winner, the match is a draw. But in this case, they declared Sami Zayn the winner because he survived 10 minutes. So it just came across pretty odd. I know the stipulation was, okay, Sammy has to survive 10 minutes, but at the same time, he didn't win, he didn't lose, he just survived. So it really doesn't make him a winner. Unless they said, if Sami Zayn survives 10 minutes, he will be declared the winner. That wasn't the case. The thing was just, it's a 10-minute time limit. And another thing that I was expecting with this match, and kind of upset that it didn't happen, was, remember Braun Strowman said that nobody could survive. He said Sami Zayn couldn't survive 2 minutes in the ring with me, nor can anybody. However, in this match, Braun Strowman didn't even try to beat Sami Zayn in 2 minutes. It was almost like, well, if you said you can beat this guy in 2 minutes, shouldn't the initial 2 minutes be you trying to squash this guy like a bug instead of you prolonging it? It's just, storyline inconsistencies in my opinion right there. And I'm not even sure if they're going to continue it because, the next night Braun Strowman went on a rampage because he wouldn't get Sami Zayn another match. And now that he's assaulted Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, it makes you wonder, okay, is the whole thing with him and Sami Zayn going to continue, or he just made 2 new enemies in Rollins and Reigns? So there's something to, I guess, look into for, in the future of Braun Strowman. But, that was that between Sami Zayn and Braun Strowman. Then the next match came between Seth Rollins and Chris Jericho. And the only issue I really had with this match was that we had seen this, I think, about 2 or 3 times before this match came. So it wasn't really something that was, fresh. Nonetheless, the effort and the skill set between these two, at the same time, is like, okay, we've seen this thing before. And another issue I had with the match, it's not even like the match itself, just the setup of the match. And I will kind of get into that more after I talk about the main event. But, the match really picked up like near, I guess, like maybe like the last 10 or the last 5 minutes. Kevin Owens came out and he got on the apron, but he got on the apron and I think he distracted the ref while Rollins had the small package. So I think Jericho kicks out, and I believe then, he's upset with Owens. But Owens kind of way, I believe, helped him. I'm still trying to put up the whole story that, Kevin Owens and Jericho are having, issues. So that Owens keeps costing Jericho matches, from United States title matches to, what have you. But if you think about it, in the end, it really wasn't Kevin Owens that caused Jericho the match, because after it was like, I think like 1 or 2 more minutes where it was back and forth between the two, and Jericho just got the code breaker countered into the pedigree in 1, 2, 3. So after Owens left, it was all on Jericho who took the loss. So Seth Rollins gets a win. He's walking up the rim. He's putting basically one down, in his quest to get into Triple H, because he finally remembers after 5 or 4 months that, oh yeah, Triple H cost me the Universal Championship, and I'm supposed to be after this guy, even though this guy since then hasn't done a damn thing to me. And it's almost like, why didn't you guys just have Triple H, get involved in Seth Rollins' business, in other occasions? Or heck, I always said, have Seth Rollins one time go to WWE headquarters. Try to find Triple H in Triple H's office. Doesn't find it, so what does he do? He wrecks it like Brock Lesnar did in 2013. But that was that between Seth Rollins and Chris Jericho. Not a bad match, but something that we've seen before between these two. Then we get on to the Cruiserweight Championship triple threat match between Brian Kendrick, TJ Perkins, and the champion himself, Rich Swann. Now, I'm not going to call him outlandish because I'm really not getting that nickname, the outlandish Rich Swann. What is really outlandish about the guy? And as for this match, I was watching this pay-per-view with my cousin, and I said to him, while this match was going on, this match went by pretty quick too. It really did. But I was telling him that, it wasn't really the case. The problem wasn't really, the competitors. This was the competitors being a victim of, bad, management. WWE has really not given the fans too much of a real reason to be invested in the cruiserweight division. Really have not. And I can't really say that the 205, what most people maybe thought would be a big benefit, has really been a benefit. And I will say I think the 205 live format needs to change. I agree when people say that it should either not be live or it should either move the Full Sail like the CWC did. But the crowd was dead for this match. And when the crowd is not into the match, when you're watching at home, that can even affect you. Because I have nothing against Rich Swann, I have nothing against TJ Perkins, I have nothing against Brian Kendrick. But it was really hard for me to really get into the match because the crowd wasn't into it. And you, as home, when you're watching at home, you kind of feed off the energy of the people that are in the arena too. So, the match, what it was it was pretty fast paced, and there was a couple of mishaps. I remember Rich Swann was supposed to leapfrog over Brian Kendrick, but I think Brian Kendrick's eye hit his crotch. It looked pretty bad. And then the ending came where Brian Kendrick got a double super kick, and then immediately after that, Rich Swann hit the Swan Song kick on TJP and got the 1-2-3 for that run. And retains the Cruiserweight Championship. And then, lo and behold, the man that it seemed that creative forgot, returns. He returns with his grand entrance because, in WWE, most of the time, when you return in your ring gear for some odd reason, and that's what Neville did. And he comes out of the ring, look like he's all, in a celebratory mood, and he's clapping for Rich Swann, and he dives in the ring, and next thing you know, wham! He cold clocks Rich Swann, beats the hell out of this man. TJP tries to intervene. He gets the crap beat out of him, and never once did Neville touch Brian Kendrick. He just beat up Rich Swann and TJP and left them lying there. And one of the big camera shots was just Neville standing tall, a bunch of these limp bodies looking like a angry troll. And the crowd chanted, "Thank you, Neville." So even though this was supposed to be Neville's heel turn, he came across like the biggest baby face out of the Cruiserweight division. And he will follow it up by beating up Rich Swann, even though with Brian Kendrick. But when it came to beating up TJP, he beat up TJP on his own. TJP tried to rush down the ring, got kicked the hell out, got his head kicked off. And if they're already building Neville as, in terms of the Cruiserweight division, he's like the dominant heel, like the dominant force. Hey, this is almost like a new lease on life for Neville after being forgotten since he's come back. And the fact that he should have been on the Cruiserweight division from the get-go. A guy with his talent is just like, how come, he was underutilized, or not even utilized at all. And when he explained his heel turn, I saw that he had one. They had one on YouTube, I think, after he beat up Rich Swann and TJP at Roadblock. But I didn't see that one, so I saw the one on Raw the following night. I clearly thought, okay, his heel turn is just basically a little bit of reality. How come I haven't been on this damn show called Raw? How come, I haven't been part of the cruiserweight. In a way, he did kind of allude to that by calling himself he called himself the king of cruiserweights. Rey Mysterio might have something to say about that, but that was basically his heel turn. But hey, if you would have told me that Neville would have turned heel in 2016, at the start of 2016, if you told me that by the end of 2016 he'll turn heel, I wouldn't have believed you, because I'd be like, okay, what's going to be his motive? But then when you started seeing him not being shown, it's like, what? Maybe that'd be a believable reason for him to turn heel. So I'm not gonna lie, I am on board of this Neville heel turn, or this Neville heel run. See where it goes, because at the end of the day, I guess the best thing out of this is that, hey, he's back on TV. So then we get on to a match where basically the anger or the frustration came. And that was the 30-minute Iron Woman match, or man or maiden match for the Raw Women's Championship. The Boss, Sasha Banks, defending her title against Charlotte. This was the second female Iron Man match in WWE history, counting the one last year with Bayley and Sasha. And I must say already, before going into this match, that I enjoyed that Iron Woman match, or Iron Maiden match, more than this one. This one really didn't start picking up until like it hit 10 minutes to go. Okay, it took 20 minutes for the first fall to happen, and at that point, I was wondering, okay, are they gonna go with the Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels route, where it's gonna come down to probably the very end, and it's probably just gonna be one fall that decides everything? But Charlotte got the first fall in by like the 20-minute mark with a supernatural selection, the same way she beat Sasha at our Evolution 2 years ago. Excuse me. So then Sasha got the first fall. She got it like with some intricate pin, and she got the first fall, tying it up. And then she got the bank statement, the take the lead 2-1. And that's, I believe before that or during that, that's when Charlotte started really working over Sasha's left leg. And then near the end, Charlotte locks on the figure four. And I believe she had the figure four / figure eight on Sasha for about like 2 long minutes, to the point where it was nearing the end. And I'm thinking, okay, they're really going to show, Sasha's heart of a champion, that, through the pain, she's going to hold out and she's going to retain her championship. And that not happening. That did not happen. No, it did not happen. What happened was that Sasha looked at the clock, and she's seeing it that, it's winding down to 3. Got 3 seconds left. I can hold it. No, I can't do it. And I tap out, and it's like, I'm watching them because I'm like, damn it. We're going into overtime. And because they build this match as the end of the feud, it's like, you cannot end this. You cannot end this with a draw. You just can't. You have to go OT. Overtime. So they do go overtime. And mostly overtime was mostly all Charlotte, because from the get-go, she drop kicked Sasha's leg and just went back to work on the leg, and kept trying to go for the figure four, and it kept getting countered. And finally Sasha locked on a bank statement, and next thing you know, Charlotte fights out of it, and methodically gets the figure four locked on. And at this point in the match, Sasha is extremely bloody. She was both of them already was like bleeding like from the lip, but Sasha, the blood was so bad that it stained almost her whole, I believe, left hand. And I'm just thinking, when the hell did this happen? I'm thinking, is this her nose? And I think it came from her nose later on. But it created such a great visual when she got the figure four locked on her and she was trying to reach for the rope. And I'm thinking, oh, she's going to reach the ropes and everything. And then you just see her get pulled back. And I'm like, here we go. And the crowd could feel it too. This was the first time ever in all my years of watching wrestling, I've heard a "not this way" chant. The crowd could feel the same thing that we've been getting for the past, I believe, like 5 months of when it comes to pay-per-views, Charlotte's gonna get the belt back from Charlotte. They were feeling it. That's why they started chanting "not this way." And unfortunately, it was that way, because Sasha will go on to tap out, thus making Charlotte a 4-time women's champion. And out of all their matches that they've had, because this was the end of feud, even though they billed the Falls Count Anywhere match as the final chapter. And it's good that it's nice that I bring it up, because out of all the matches that they have had in this long, case of hot potato between the two, that was the match that I enjoyed the most, the Falls Count Anywhere. Now look, Charlotte is a 4-time women's champion, and I have nothing against Charlotte. I really don't. I have nothing against Charlotte. I like Charlotte. I like Sasha. But now that this feud is over, and now it's clearly obvious, since on this past Raw, that they're moving on to new things. Charlotte's moving on with Bayley, or they're resuming the Bayley feud. And it seems like Sasha is starting with a feud with Nia Jax. But now that this feud is over, now I can definitely, give the overall thoughts. And, and the chat, I was chatting with my friends, and it was like a big, I don't want to say like discussion. I want to say like a debate, but maybe a discussion about the whole feud. And one of my friends was like, it was both ways. Both of them held the belt, quick time for a short period of time. Wasn't just Sasha. But my counter argument to that was, and I think it's one of the biggest differences. I think it's a big point. Yeah, even though for the past 5 months it's been Sasha wins on Raw, Charlotte wins on pay-per-view, Sasha wins on Raw, Charlotte wins on pay-per-view, Sasha wins on Raw, Charlotte wins on pay-per-view. Gotta remember, before that even started, Charlotte, if you count her Divas Championship reign, and then when she came into WrestleMania as a Divas Champion and then left as the new Women's Champion. So if you count that Divas Championship reign, she had been a champ for 9 months. That's a long time. So the hot potato really didn't affect her all that much. At least you can say that she had a reign. It really affected Sasha a lot, because Sasha never really had a reign. All her reigns were like 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, like 20 days. And that's why I laughed when, they were showing the TV ads for the match, and you hear the sound clip of Sasha, I want to go down as the greatest women's champion. I'm just like, well, you can't go down as the greatest women's champion when you can't hold the belt longer than 20 days. You just can't. And, one thing that was brought up in that discussion was that it helped them as wrestlers. And, my thing was to that was that, well, I didn't need the hot potato to know that Sasha and Charlotte were great wrestlers. I think everybody knew that. I believe everybody knew that. I think what this thing did do, however, was just show that they are good enough or great enough to be draws, for fans to really look into that. Hey, they're big enough to main event Raw, and there's really no problem. We're cool with that. It's like they've earned that. They're that good. That's what that showed. And also, I will say, with the matches that they've had, the Falls Count Anywhere, the Hell in a Cell, and the Iron Woman match, the Iron Maiden match. I more like the Iron Maiden name. Sounds more cooler. I guess I can say that what those things did do, those three Pacific matches did, was just show that, I guess, they were more revolutionary than the dang Divas Revolution last year. Because during the Divas Revolution, it wasn't like the matches that were done were like really revolutionary. It just felt like we're just pushing 9 people, but it's counter-effective because we're trying to push 9 people. Remember, the Divas Revolution really didn't start really becoming like clear until Becky was like the only face, and it actually was a real story between her and Charlotte. So those are things I can say the feud have done, but at the same time, I don't think fans really needed the hot potato, the hot shot, and for 5 months. For 5 months of hot shot in the belt. I don't think fans needed that to know that Charlotte and Sasha were great as wrestlers. It's funny, this feud draws so many parallels to the Randy Orton and John Cena feud back in 2009. I guess the only difference is that none of the matches had a real overbooked finish like John Cena and Randy Orton at SummerSlam 2009, or none of the matches had a. What I'm about to say is true, because both matches did have a lousy Hell in a Cell finish. But Randy Orton and John Cena 2009, the finish was that John Cena oversells one of Randy Orton's dreaded chin locks, and then he takes a punt to his hairline. If you ever watched that match, you clearly see it tips John Cena's hairline. Doesn't even kick him in the head. And it ended in an Iron Man match, just like this feud. So there's some many parallels. The only difference I can say is that overall, in terms of matches, the Sasha and Charlotte match on a consistent basis had better matches overall. But Charlotte is a 4-time women's champion, and this is another situation that it's odd that anytime these two have these pay-per-view matches, not only does it end with Sasha losing, it also ends up with her walking out with an injury. SummerSlam, her back, even though that was a bit of reality, she did come into that match hurt. Then Hell in a Cell, she comes out all bandaged up. Now this match, what does she come out on Raw? She's got a knee brace, and I guess a knee brace and a cast on. She's walking with a crutch. She always comes out, hurt. It's like Charlotte just always hurts her in these matches. And it was pretty funny on the following night when the New Day came out, and they brought up Ric Flair. Ric Flair didn't become a 16-time champion, and then Big E just chimes in, which is Charlotte in a month. And I laughed at that jab because it was like, at this rate, it does seem like I wouldn't put it past them if they said, oh yeah, we're going to try to have Charlotte be a 16-time women's champ, like her dad was a 16-time world champion. And I really hope that does not happen, because for Charlotte, that's the last thing she needs, where fans are tired of her. Not tired of her because she's a heel. They don't like her because she's a heel. They don't like her because, it just feels like politics. That's the last thing I think needs to happen to Charlotte. And it could be already setting in for some fans. Could already be setting in. But, those are my thoughts on the Iron Maiden match between Charlotte and Sasha to end the feud. The match that actually solidified, that actually had a good reason for the dang tagline, end of the line. So, yeah. So now we get on to the main event. Kevin Owens defending his Universal Championship against the United States Champion Roman Reigns, and this was not a double title match. And I'm not gonna lie, my attention was a little bit diverted from this match. But one thing I can remember is just, Roman Reigns getting a frog splash through the announcer table. At first it didn't break, and then Owens broke it. And then come near the end, near the end, Jericho comes out. And he's in between Roman Reigns and Owens. And you could just smell the code breaker coming. And he gives Kevin Owens the code breaker. Ding, 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 DQ. It's like, what a way to end a pay-per-view. Not only just a pay-per-view, what a way to end the final pay-per-view of the year on a lame DQ finish. And it wasn't like Jericho did it, as a stamp of, yeah, I'm no longer your friend, Kev. It was like a big swerve. That he handed Kevin Owens the belt, they hugged and everything, and it's like, so this story is back to where it started. Instead of added on to, the fuel, added more fuel to the fire, you just extinguished the fire. Even though I have a feeling that somewhere down the line we're actually going to get, a full-on implosion between Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho. Hopefully. And it brings out Seth Rollins. And we get another mini Shield reunion. And they double powerbomb Jericho through the table, the only table that was left standing at ringside. And then they double powerbomb Kevin Owens on the announce table where Michael Cole and them sat. And how I remember I said before, one of my issues with the Chris Jericho and Rollins match, will tie into the main event. After that finish, which was a complete Raw finish, something you can see on Raw. And I said, the cons of the Raw, or the brand exclusive pay-per-view, emerges again. How most of the time during the brand exclusive pay-per-views, I think near the 2004-05 period, you would get some lame finishes like Great American Bash 2005. It ended with Batista getting himself disqualified when he was champ against JBL. Stuff like that. But because it was a Raw finish and because it involved Seth Rollins and kind of the whole build-up, even though the build-up felt like Owens and Jericho, but still Rollins and Reigns were there, what they did on Raw, Rollins, Reigns versus KO and Jericho, it was almost like, why didn't you just do that match at Roadblock? Why didn't you just do that match? Jericho and Jericho versus Rollins and Reigns, and they put some stipulation where, if the champ loses, whatever champ loses, they lose their belt or something. Maybe they should have just did that instead. But we got Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens, and we're gonna get Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens again at the Rumble which has a month of build. Thank God, because it's a long deserved break from these pay-per-views. Because ever since the brand split started, you really don't get a break from these pay-per-views. You really don't. Because right after Survivor Series, it was TLC. And then right after TLC, it was Roadblock, end of the line. Overall, Roadblock, end of the line. I don't think it's going to get any, high scores. And if it does, then, hey, I ain't really going to hold it against those people. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I'm not really going to shoot somebody down for giving something a high rating. I might question, okay, why? But I'm not going to, assassinate their character. But, and it's funny, there were two, I'm not sure if people remember, but there were two Roadblocks this year. This wasn't really Roadblock 2016. There was two Roadblocks. And when comparing the two, even though the first Roadblock was like a glorified house show, it was a live event that was shown on the network, that Roadblock was better than the actual pay-per-view. The Roadblock that was headlined by Dean Ambrose and Triple H for the title, which was a better match than Roman Reigns and Triple H for the title, and one of my candidates for match of the year. I felt it was really good. And overall, Roadblock, the live event special, was one of the better overall shows in terms of WWE, not counting the takeovers of the year. Yes, I will go on to say that takeover that happened in March was one of the best overall shows, especially compared to this end of the line. And that's the end of this review for Roadblock, end of the line. So I brought up before on my last video, the review of TLC, is that the wrestling corner will be coming to an end. But it won't be the last. It won't be the last time. I'll be doing something in terms of wrestling. But the wrestling corner will be coming to an end after I do the best and worst, awards for WWE 2016. It used to just be the best and worst awards, counting TNA, but I stopped watching TNA, so this one's just solely WWE. But after that, that will be the series. But basically, that will be the series finale for the wrestling corner. After that, the wrestling corner will be officially done, and I'll start up something new. So until the best and worst of 2016 show, I am Hoku93. I'm always in the place to be. And until then, I'll check you guys later. Peace.